Welcome into Talk of the Town this week right here on C19 TV. So great to have you along. I'm your host, Tim Foster. Hey, we're in August now, and great to kick off today's show with a couple master gardeners. We got Joe Bothell with us, who is a master gardener, and Judy Ford. And guys, great to have you, and thanks for being on Talk of the Town.
Thank you.
So we're going to talk about, and Joe, I'm going to start with you. We're going to talk about a great event coming up in August, the Great Southeast Pollinator Census that'll be coming up in just a few weeks. But Joe, the last time we had you on here, you had a big plant sale that went on. Talk a little bit about that and how that went a few months ago.
Yeah, each May we have a plant sale, and this year we had probably 600-700 plants that we sold. Had a good turnout, had very little left, which is always good, and try and focus on native and stuff that's not as usual that you can get some places.
Yeah, well, very, very neat. So the success for sure.
Oh, very successful, yes.
Yeah. Well, Judy, we were just talking about this before we started recording. It's been kind of an interesting summer because now that we're in August, we look back and, in May we had quite a bit of rain. In June we went to a drought.
Yes, we
here
did.
in Cleveland County in North Carolina. July we had more rain come back, and so some yards started getting a little bit less of that drought. So if you were a planter this year, it was a little tricky. Talk a little bit about the summer.
Yes, it was. It kept you watering. Kept you watching your rain gauges, hoping that during the night some rain had trickled in for you.
Right.
So it was just a hit or miss. And like we were talking, Joe and I, we don't live that far from each other. And we enjoyed comparing how much rain did you get? Well, I didn't get that much. I wonder why. And so it really brings your attention to the weather.
Yeah.
So, and of course, like I said, you end up doing lots of watering, but we're thankful now. Rain's coming.
Yeah, it really has flipped, and we'll see how it does this fall, but hopefully that'll be the case. Well, Joe, you guys, now that we're in August, a really neat event, Great Southeast Pollinator Census, GSEPC for short, and a lot of people may be saying that are watching Talk of the Town, what is that? What is he talking about? Give us a little bit of the history that led up to this event.
In 2017, a group of researchers at Georgia, University of Georgia decided that what's going on with the pollinators, maybe we should try and put a count together. So the first year they did it was 2019, and then last year North Carolina was added. And we had 27 entries from North Carolina, from Cleveland County last year. We're hoping for more, so we're trying to get out, educate, kind of talk to people. And it's interesting just to see how many different insects visit your flowers and stuff that you have for pollination.
Yeah, I was looking at the insect categories for this event. You know, you got carpenter bees, bumblebees, wasps, honeybees, flies. Really interesting as it relates to that. And you were talking about the states, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida. So obviously those three states, and you guys, as you mentioned, Judy, you talking about North Carolina was just added last year, right?
Last year, yes. And it began actually in the University of Georgia is where this first started. And so thank goodness it has grown, and we're going to hope that it grows to many other states so we can keep a count.
So Joe, who can participate in this
This is open
event?
to anybody can take 15 minutes and count. The more people, the better. But it's just easy to take a cup of coffee or a glass of iced tea out to your garden and a chair and sit there for 15 minutes. All of the insect pictures are online at GSEPC. There's also a tally sheet that you can use.
Yeah.
And
is that kind of how you do the count
that's
process?
how you do the count. I don't know. You got this form here.
Yeah, you can show the camera there, yeah.
It's like, okay, there's a bumblebee, click. Oh, there's a butterfly. I had one plant last year, the hummingbird moth landed on it 173 times in 15 minutes.
Wow, really?
Just amazing that you don't realize that. You just kind of walk by the plants and don't think too much about it. But then when you're sitting there counting, it's interesting what you see.
So once you do this and you get the results, then what? What do you do then?
Well, they have a QR code you can take with your phone and just upload the data that you did that. And you can do it more than once, and it's 2 days, Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, pretty remarkable. So Judy, I got to ask you about this, and
Yes.
big thanks to you guys for getting us some stats and some information on this. And I want to get your thoughts on this. But I'm just reading some of this here, so I want to get your thoughts. Scientists estimate that pollinators are responsible for 1 in 3 bites of food that humans eat. Is that
Very,
true?
very true.
Talk about that a little bit.
Well, that's the reason they want to collect this data.
Okay.
To see how our migration is going with our insects. Are they staying? Are they moving? And one of the facts is that we're losing pollinators. It's basically due to loss of habitat. We're destroying that.
Right.
The use of insecticides is happening. And especially like in our honeybees, we are getting lots more diseases now. And so this gives them data to study on and build cases so they can understand what is going on and how can we prevent it and help it. And this is the reason we want to educate our children, so they will understand why it is so important to have these pollinators. Of course, insects are not the only pollinators. There are many other
sure.
animals that are pollinators, but this is one that they are focusing on it because it is a very large category of our pollinators. You know,
Yeah.
so if we want to eat and we enjoy eating these fresh foods, then we need to learn to take care of our pollinators.
Joe, I don't think we talked much about the actual date. August 23rd, is that right? Talk
August
a little bit about
23rd and 24th.
and the times for those days.
Anytime during the day.
Okay.
And what you can do if you're interested, especially it's good with kids. We're going to go to a couple schools on Friday to do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Saturday at the farmers market in Shelby, we're planning on having a few groups to do just 15 minutes to see, to educate, but also see what type of activity we have. Very simple. When you fill out the sheet, you click on that QR code and just enter the data, and there'll be another Cleveland County entry.
Very neat. Another one here, Joe, I want to get your thoughts. In the U.S., pollination is valued at nearly $20 billion annually. A lot of
Right.
people may not have known that. Talk about that.
Well, just because of the pollinators being responsible for 1 in 3 bites of food,
Yeah.
you think how much food is bought in a year. That's a big number, and it's one of those things people don't realize, that bee population's declining, and you see all these new subdivisions where we get rid of
Yeah.
a bunch of woods and native things. It's hard for them to find as much to eat.
Very neat.
Yeah.
Now, is there a website that folks can get on, or a number that they
All
can
of
find out
this
more
inf-
about this event?
All of this information is available at the Great Southeastern Pollinator Census at GSEPC.
Yeah, it's on your screen there,
It's on
.org,
the
right?
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you go there, you can get the count sheet, you can get pictures, you can get these pictures
Here.
here of all the different insects.
Oh, yeah.
So
Let's get on the
there's not
screen.
a whole lot of
Yeah.
thinking that has to be done. It's just a pleasant little 15 minutes during late August afternoon.
Sure. Judy, if we've got viewers that might be watching and thinking, man, I would, Master Gardener, that would be something I would like to strive to do and just be better in the garden in general. Talk about the program here in Cleveland County and how folks can find out more about it as well.
Well, first of all, you can call our extension office here in Cleveland County and talk with Julie Flowers. She's our agent. Wonderful, wonderful person to work under and with. And it's just a great group to be with, because if you're in the love of flowers, vegetables, anything that has to do with that, then you don't even have to know anybody. When you come to this group, you're going to find so many new friends.
Yeah.
And that have that same interest, and that's what's brought Joe and I together
Right.
as good friends. We have such a common interest to learn about all this, and it just continues to grow. And then the great thing that we get to do, like Joe was talking about, we actually get to go out to our communities, and we get to educate people about pollinators, how to grow food, how to do this. This is what we're here for. We're here to help.
Sure.
And that's a lot of the fun part of getting to do it. Then, of course, in your own home, you're learning how, oh my goodness, I've been doing it this way all my life.
Yeah.
And you just learn better ways,
Yeah.
to garden.
Tremendously educated. You get
Oh,
more
yes.
educated, yeah.
Oh, yes. And like it is, that love is spreading it to the children to make sure that this is ensured for a lifelong lesson of learning.
Yeah, and that's really awesome. So, Has this event always been in August, Joe, in recent years?
Yes, yeah, it just started 2019. Part of it is you have a lot of flowers in early summer.
Right.
What's available now?
Okay.
Yeah.
Some things like monarchs, they migrate south, so they're up in Canada now. They'll be going through here in a month or so.
Right.
What food is available for them also is kind of like why they picked that date. Plus, it's part of a peak activity time for the bees to store up for the winter and stuff. So they're pretty busy. And to see what plants work better than others. You think all plants are the same, but some attract butterflies, some attract bees.
Yeah.
Just kind of different.
Yeah, and they really, and each one, you really do have to do a little bit of research on, you know, even if
Yes.
it's how much sun do they get, how much
Yes.
do they not get. And in this case, with the Great Southeast Pollinator Census, I mean, that's going to be a really neat day because it really does educate you, Judy, right?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I totally agree with that. And the cool thing is, it's not hard to do this. You know, you've got 2 days, and you are going to spend less than an hour just getting your materials together, and just sitting down and enjoying that 15 minutes and watching this happen, and how many things like Joe discovered
Right.
how many times that the hummingbird moth came to his flower during that 15 minutes. To me, that is so exciting.
Yeah.
And I think kids would get a real good time out of that too.
It really is, and it's awesome. It gets them outside, and it gets them
Yes.
learning
Oh,
about
that's it, yeah.
about nature. And this is going to be a great event. So August 23rd, 24th, Great Southeast Pollinator event. And again, Joe, I know you just encourage folks to jump on board and check out the website, right?
Check out the website, and if not, at the extension office, we have the number there. If there's any questions, we'd be happy to try and help
Yes.
out too.
Well, and if you need some tips, Master Gardener wise, Joe and Judy are there to help.
We'd love to.
Yeah, thank
We'd
you
love
so
to.
much for being on Talk of the
Thank
Town,
you for
and
having us.
we'll have you back, and we'll want to find out about a little bit more how the event went. How's that
That'd be
sound?
great.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned. We've got more Talk of the Town. We'll take a break, and we'll be right back on C19 TV.
She gets her hair from her mom, her eyes from her dad, and her drugs from her home medicine cabinet. Fact: more people die from drug overdoses than from car crashes or gun violence. And over 50% of those deaths are from prescription drugs. Prescription drug abuse is preventable. 1. Secure and take regular inventory of our medications. 2. Dispose of unused or expired medications. 3. Share this message with others. Be aware, don't share, lock your meds.
Education is our most powerful tool to improve and change our world. Hi, I'm Rhonda Benfield, your host for School Matters. Join me for a new program every other week with information from and about the students and staff of Cleveland County Schools. Discover what our schools are doing to challenge students and help them reach their full potential. You can catch us on Spectrum Cable Channel 19 or stream us live on c19.tv.
Here in Cleveland County, many children struggle to develop due to the lack of guidance and shortage of positive role models. At the Boys and Girls Club, we make it our team's mission to aid your child in becoming a better student and, more importantly, a better person with a brighter future.
When your child comes to the club, you can be assured they are being guided in a manner that is beneficial to the growth as an adult that is visible in their lives. Please consider giving your child the opportunity to be the absolute best they can possibly be.
Please support your local Boys and Girls Club today.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town this week right here on C19 TV. Tim Foster along with you. And hey, great to have a good friend of mine. You may know her from Political Smackdown as well. She's on the panel, Betsy Wells. She is part of Political Smackdown, but she's also going to be here today to talk about the Distinguished Women's Banquet. Betsy, welcome to Talk of the Town.
Well, thank you, and it's a different set.
It's a different set, and I tell you, we could talk politics probably for the next 13 minutes, and wow, what a last couple of months. But watch Political Smackdown because you guys are going to keep us up to date, right?
Yes, I think we could tape more than once a week with so much going on.
There's so much going on daily, but check out Political Smackdown. Been on C19 over 20 years, almost 2,000 episodes, Betsy.
Yes.
It's a remarkable show, and to me, one of the best in North Carolina, and I'm very fortunate to get to produce it. But today, Betsy, we're going to talk about the Distinguished Women's Banquet, and folks may be saying the Distinguished Women's Banquet, part of the Cleveland County Commission for Women. Talk about the history of this, Betsy.
Well, the Cleveland County Commission for Women goes back to the formation in 1978
Wow.
at the women's movement, and we were working to get the RA passed and so forth. And the county and a group of distinguished women. These were older women that worked so hard in the county. They went before the county commissioners.
Yeah.
And Shirley Lale that's on our commission was one of those women. And so finally the county commissioners said, okay, that they would form us. And we were a part of the county government. And now this is 1978.
Right.
And so then during the time, at that time we would put up posters like at the mall for its first women, like first woman doctors,
Sure.
And we'd have workshops at Cleveland Community College during Women's History Month, or we would go out to Gardner Webb.
Sure.
And we'd have like women in the law and things like that. Then in 1992, we came up with the idea, well, there are lots of women in our county who are maybe from our county that have really left an imprint on people's lives, particularly women. So we started the banquet. Now that first year, we couldn't narrow it down to 3 people. We had like 10. It was a very long banquet that year.
That had to be a challenge. Yeah.
But and it's not just women that work in the community. It can be a variety of things, and I know you got the criteria, Tim.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the criteria, Betsy, because it's very interesting here. So, number one, maximize potential, makes the most of every opportunity. There's a lot of women in Cleveland County that could be under that list. Then I see pioneered. Not that she was necessarily the first, but she opened doors for other women. Well,
yes,
Betsy, we've had a lot of people, I'm sure in your life that have done that. I mean, I think of female teachers in my life that could be in that. Contributions, make significant contributions in many areas. Wow, that covers a lot. Remains in touch with her roots, maintains ties to Cleveland County. This may be somebody that's gone on to do something in other parts of the world or country. So just those 4 are pretty big.
They are, and you don't have to be alive to get it.
Yeah.
We have given the award posthumously, like with the former First Ladies of North Carolina, Bess Gardner Huey and Faye Webb Gardner. And it can be a woman that has gone, maybe born in Cleveland County, and has not been back, but has left her mark on some other area. And it can be in politics, it can be in religion, it can be in sports, it can be in community activities, college, teaching. It's a woman, a firefighter, a female firefighter.
Yeah. Maybe law enforcement
Oh,
possibly?
yeah, we've had several law enforcements, yes.
Yeah, and then I see one of the criteria as well was rising star.
Rising star.
Somebody that, maybe somebody, as you mentioned, in politics, in some kind of community service, in business. I mean, there's been so many that I think we've overlooked, females that have made such major impacts. And maybe it's as you talked about, it's been in Cleveland County, but it's been statewide, it's been nationwide. And sometimes we forget some of them, Betsy, I think.
Oh, I think so too. I mean, Laura Bingham from Kings Mountain, who was the president of Peace College for so many years.
Right.
But she always maintained her roots in Cleveland County and others.
Sure.
And we have honored, this is going to be the 32nd banquet. Now, we did not have one in 2020 because of COVID.
Yeah.
But we have worked, this will be the 32nd banquet, and we've honored 110 women so far.
That's pretty remarkable. So let's talk a little bit about the banquet. It'll be, give us the date and the location.
It's going to be October the 9th, and it's at 6:30 at LeGrand Center.
Right.
And we will go on. Now, we have not selected the women for this year, for 2024.
Yeah, right.
The deadline was like last week, and we are meeting tomorrow, really, to look and we always appeal to the public to give us nominations.
Yes.
And then we see who comes in. And one of the hardest jobs of being part of the commission is making those selections.
Yeah, and I think by the time this airs, maybe you will have made
We
some
will.
of your selections, but that's got to be a tough job because, I mean, you get so many, and then the problem is trying to get it down to, and how many do you select each year at the event?
Well, after that first year,
Yeah, after
We
you had
tried-
the 10, yeah,
we
right.
try to keep it to 3, at the most 4. It depends, because you see, it's a banquet, so we eat. And Joe Ellis from Joe's Catering has been
Oh, yeah.
catering our food for the number of years. We have entertainment. But going back to the commission, we do more than just the banquet.
Yes.
We always honor women at Women's History Month some way, sending them cards. One year we honored the women that were like 90 years old and older.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also took over the Cleveland County Fair pageant whenever Ms. Borders retired.
Right.
And so we've been in that since 2010. But the banquet, I think, is what people most remember us for.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Betsy, because it's not just the banquet. You guys are doing stuff all year to honor.
We are.
To honor these women. And you were talking about the Cleveland County Commission for Women. I just want to talk, if it's okay with you, about your current commission members,
All right.
because I mean some of these are well known and have such impact. I just think about it in the county just themselves. Now, are any of the current commission members have they been selected as
Yes.
distinguished women in the years past?
Well, Shirley Lale, who was
Sure,
our
that's
founder.
what I was thinking. Yeah,
Then also Mary Acker.
yeah. I remember when Mary was, and I see Valerie Boyd. You got Tansy Wallace, Deborah Blanton. Of course, Deborah hosts Cleveland County
Right.
Kitchen. Deborah, of course, former Board of Elections chair. Joyce Coleman, Linda Martin, Betsy Wells. I think she's here with me today. Kathy Robertson, who does such a fun, wonderful job. Diane Davis, Robert Miller, Jill Camp, and then Christine Cribb over at the chamber as well. And I mean, you kind of, when I was looking at those criteria, I kind of see something in each one of these individuals on your committee.
And we try to, we're across the county too.
Yeah.
It's not centered just in Shelby or in Kings Mountain. But we do, and and it's a group that we no longer are with the county. The county still helps us we supported the Distinguished Women's Banquet, but by not being a part of the county, we were able to get our own 501c3.
Sure.
And so, but the county, in 1978, back when women, they were burning their bras and things like that. I think our county commissioners were a little leery about forming a women's group.
It was a little different time back
Yes,
then.
it
yeah.
was. And so that's why at that time they wanted, the groups were formed under the credibility of the county government.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Do you remember where you had the first distinguished banquet?
oh yes, at North Lake Country Club.
Okay. Yeah.
See,
so
we used to go to North Lake,
North
and we
Lake,
went
yeah.
to Cleveland Country Club.
Right.
And so, and then of course, when the county built LeGrand, we've been
Yeah.
at LeGrand Center.
Perfect location
It
for
is.
it. Yeah. How can folks get tickets for this event, Betsy?
Well, later on, after there'll be a press release to
Yes.
sell tickets, and that will be like in September.
Yeah, we'll have you back hopefully
and
by
we'll do
then.
that. And
Yeah.
Valerie Boyd is chairing our 2024 banquet committee, and so she'll probably come with me.
Yeah. So let's talk about as we got a few minutes left, let's talk about the process of when you get nominations, for instance, and then you get to that point where you have to, as you said, kind of dwindle it. How tough is that for your
Oh, it is
committee
very
and your
tough.
commission?
It is very tough. And it depends, and we've had as many as 15 applications.
Really?
Oh, yes. And for us not to have 10 is surprising. And this time, we went back to having them mail them by snail mail. And and Robert Miller asked me, now, what's snail mail?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said the post office
Yeah.
box. And so Valerie Boyd will go and get the applications. I think she's going today.
Yeah.
It's got to be postmarked to be considered by July the 18th,
Yeah,
which was
yeah,
like
which
was the
several weeks
deadline
ago,
last
yeah,
week.
yeah.
And so tomorrow we'll meet at
Yeah.
the chamber at their boardroom, and we'll at noon, and it'll take about 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we'll just, and we do not nominate ourselves.
Yeah.
If someone on the commission gets the award, it comes from someone in the community.
Now, when these folks are selected and at the banquet, do they get up and speak?
Oh,
Once that-
yes.
Yeah, they'll
Yes.
give a little bit of a speech about, and I'm sure those speeches are pretty awesome as well, right?
And some of them can be very funny.
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
never forget Jackie Roundtree from Grover, who could have been a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
If any of you
Maybe she
remember.
should have, right?
I
Yeah.
know, she was
Yeah.
such a funny, wonderful lady.
Yeah.
But what we do is that during August, the people that are selected, we'll select 4. And because sometimes people refuse it. They don't want the notoriety.
Sure, sure.
And so you always have a backup plan.
Yeah, and that's why you want quite a good bit of nominations.
But with 3, you've got time. We don't want to keep after that first banquet.
Yeah.
we were there till 9:30.
You set a record
We
record
did.
night, didn't you?
But
A
we
record
just,
time.
but we did it the right way anyway.
Yeah.
So, but we like to be out there by 8:39 at the very most, 8 o'clock.
Right.
Have a meal, and then each of them, someone speaks for them. That the nominee will select the person that he or that she wants to speak for.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the person that makes the nomination. Sometimes it's the preacher. And when I was lucky enough to be nominated, it was my preacher, and
really?
who spoke about me.
Oh, I know
anyway,
that. Yeah.
but that was in 2014. Anyway, and my husband was there, my family.
Yeah.
It's a great honor.
And I remember that well. I remember that was discussed. I know a lot of us talked about it on SmackDown, and well deserved. And but obviously for many things that you've done through the years, in so many ways, we could have another show related to that,
Well,
Betsy.
you're kind.
Another 15 minutes. But I bet it is really awesome though to each year to see folks that are already have been selected that come back as part of this.
They do.
And you get to catch up, right?
See, and we send out invitations. It's always in the newspaper. And the Arts Council has always been very kind to sell the tickets. We also have the ways that you can buy tickets online. But hopefully the tickets this year are $50.
Yeah.
And the award is very pretty, and I think that the people enjoyed the banquet.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful thing. So the 2024 Distinguished Women's Banquet coming October 9th to the LeGrand Center. We're going to have Betsy back hopefully in September to kind of give us a little bit more of the specifics. But I guess, Betsy, it's going to be interesting to see who's nominated this year.
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah, I'm excited. And as you said, the great thing, it could be somebody in sports, in politics, somebody that's opened doors for others, somebody that has worked in some
Medical,
area. And medical, yeah. I mean, you see that
Meals
more.
on Wheels.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, nonprofits or committees and groups and organizations that it'll be exciting to see who makes it this year. And I know you just invite people to come out.
Well, I hope so. I hope you'll come. That the people watching will come on October 9th and see these 3 women or 4.
Absolutely, it'll be great. And so the Distinguished Women's Banquet coming up October 9th. Betsy, thank you so much for being on Talk of the Town, and we'll see you on Political Smackdown as well.
Thank you.
It's going to be a fun fall, I have a feeling.
I think so too.
Yeah, thank you so much, Betsy. Hey, if you've got story ideas, you see it on your screen, info@c19.tv. That's how you can help us select future guests for Talk of the Town. For Talk of the Town, I've been Tim Foster. We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you again next week.